Chromebook. Come over here. Monday, we start talking about what? What is a qualitative graph?
It's a graph with no numbers.
No numbers? How do we read and understand it?
By seeing the symbols or the going over.
Okay, seeing the symbols or reading the labels on the X and Y. All right, qualitative graph is one of the easiest things we'll do. If it's going across, that means it's no movement or pretty much maintaining at that speed or whatever. So looking at this, it said the graph shows the speed of Tony Starr as he drives to work. Which section of the graph to show where he stopped at a traffic light? Why y'all say A? All right, now let me ask you this. Notice Y represents the speed. So 0 speed is down here, and that's speed up there. So he gonna stop at a traffic light at A?
No, C.
C. Why C?
Because he's going down at C.
Yes. C is that we at 0. 0 speed mean I'm stopped. Up here, I won't say he stopped. He's just continuing at that speed. That's why I say it depends on us reading it. So it should have been C. Speed is 0. Now A did show no movement, but that doesn't mean whatever speed he on, we cruising on that same speed. Questions? All right, number 2. It said Eric and Mia live the same distance from the park and decide to meet at the park one afternoon. The graph shows their distances from home over the same 30-minute period that they walk to the park. Each section of each graph represents 10 minutes. Choose, it said, which of these statements are true? Choose all that apply.
I said B.
B?
Because Mia started at the 0 mark. What's his name started? Eric.
Okay. All right, she said that started at 0. I can agree which would be. You said it wouldn't be A, return to her house after 10 minutes. Good job. It would have dropped. I'm gonna say should drop. All right. Why? Okay, 2 sections. So that would have been what, 20 minutes?
I don't know. I just said it was.
All right, so let's see. D said Mia and Eric arrived at the park at the same time. If we had some numbers, I guess we could say, okay, they both made it there at the same time. E said Eric walked the same distance as Mia during the last 10 minutes. This is the last 10 minutes. That's his last 10 minutes. We only looking at the last 10 minutes. It looks the same to me. Let's separate it to 3 parts. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
That's E. We can also go with D as well. They both got there about the same time. She left before him. He still got there. Any questions about it? 2B? You did B and E?
Yeah.
We go with B and E. That's the main ones I'm going with, but we'll go with D too if you want to look at it that way. But then if you don't, the only thing with D is they taking into account that Eric left later. So if he left later, they really won't be the same time. Because I went 30 minutes and you went 20. So if you need to separate the different sections, do so. Okay. Separate them and look at them that way as well. Anybody have at least one? Everybody have at least one? All right, both? D and E? D and B? You good? Anybody else? All right, it said a small plain text breathes out on a long runway and takes off, the plane gradually climbs to a certain altitude and flies for a time at the altitude. Then it gradually descends to a lower altitude and stays at that altitude. Sketch a graph that shows the altitude of the plane during the period of its flight. Okay?
With the small plane taxi going, does that count? Like when you grab it? Okay, so you start a little bit away from the
Well, I ain't gonna say start a little bit away, but I'm gonna say draw a straight line showing us 0. I'm with you. And I'm gonna label that as 1. Okay?
I would kind of incline.
They said gradually climbs and flies for a certain time at the altitude. So gradually climb. Up. A little slanted. All right, and they said flies at that same altitude for some time. Okay, go straight across for a little while. All right, then it gradually descends. So let's make that bigger. So 2, 3, we should have went across, and then you said we gradually descending. 4, and then we stayed at that altitude. So then we go all the way down to the bottom? Okay, so I don't need to go all the way to the bottom. Go down a little bit and then go across. Didn't get the third one, so you missed one? So it should have looked somewhat like that. Of course, it ain't drawing the scale. Yours ain't drawing the scale. Everybody's gonna have a different lid of your drawing. Any questions about it? But it should have been somewhere like that to let us know that if we going down the runway, we taking up time, but it's a straight line because we haven't got in the air yet. So then we get in the air, and then we at that distance for a minute. We need to know what that represents. And then we come down some, and then we stay there. As long as you're able to represent when we stand or when we're going somewhere. Good job, ladies. All right, a fill in the blank. It says Andrea is washing the dishes on the 2nd and 4th floor of a building. The graph shows her height from the ground floor while washing dishes. Use the words from the box to describe each section. All right, section A. Why you say that positive? Going up. So it has a positive slope, and it represents going up, she said, to the what floor? Why you say 0?
Because it's not moving.
Good job. So anytime it is straight across, yes, the slope gonna be 0. So 0 slope represents washing the dishes on the still on the 2nd floor. Gotcha. So you should have had something that told you we didn't go nowhere. Section C has a blank slope. Good job. Positive. We going up. 4th floor. They gave us words, so I'm trying to put the words. Section D has a 0 slope. Good job. And represents washing the dishes on the. Section E has a. And we going. Good job. I know Cammy and Mercedes did their homework and nobody else. I'm just saying I'm constantly hearing them, so I know if somebody else did it, I know they did. Questions about it? Good. Give you a few minutes to go ahead and get that. Once you finish, you can put that down to the side. Today is Wednesday, so today is an instruction day. So then you can pull back out that bell work and back to it. Anybody else? You can close your Chrome. We don't need them no more. All right, so Monday we went to quantitative moving back to forced relationships and linear equations. I'm gonna give you about 3 to 5 minutes to go ahead and get that. Put the title up top. Today's date is September 26th. 7th grade, if not, this back then. Unit rate represented by the slope of the graph. We done pretty much went through his rise or run. Use 2 points in the slope form. What slope form? Huh? Divided by? Yeah, you still forgot that? Put that on the side somewhere. You still dealing with slope form. Y-intercept should be 0 of all proportional relationships. Like I said, if you remember from 7th grade, there was one thing about proportional relationship. Goes to the origin and it makes a straight line. Favor. You know, baby? Proportional relationships. And then remind us that equation is in the form y equals m of x. Now notice the difference between that one and the one that we're used to. That's why I gave us both when we went over linear, and I told us we don't have a plus b, or we do have it, it's just 0, and we don't have to write. So then it reminds us all proportional relationships are linear. We just made that connection when we actually did it a few weeks ago, but if you forgot, that's that connection and why it is what it is. And then they tell us to compare. We first got to find the slope of each first. So definitely make sure we get that slope, then we're able to compare. Questions? Got what you need? Mm-hmm. Y'all know us. Let those notes guide our thinking. It says the website contains hundreds of different recipes. Included with each recipe is a table that gives the approximate cost of different numbers of servings. Find the unit cost of this recipe. Then write an equation for finding the cost of X served. How can we find the unit cost? So it's going to divide 2.05 by 250 divided by 2. And that ain't 2 points. All right. Now for slope or the unit rate, we can do 2 points, but since it's proportional, what do we know? That's the number of serving costs. We know serving the cost, but go back and think what I just said. If it's proportional, what do we know? It starts at the origin. So that means if it starts at the origin, instead of us using 2 points, we can just do y divided by x. And that's in my 7th grade on this week as well. So we don't, this is the only time we don't have to use 2 points for slope. Only when it's proportional. Only when it's what? Proportional. When she got them flaps in the back. Y'all know that. Flaps in the back. Sorry, caught my attention. No thing. So then, yes, $2.50 by 2. What would that give us? $1.25. That's for sure too then. $1.25. And the only thing about that, we're dealing with unit rate. Don't forget our unit. $1.25 for what? Good job. Per serving or 1 serving. $1.25 per serving. And if you're confused on how your ending should go, still think of y in it. Y in the table is for cost. The X is for serving. So that would be cost per serve. That's how you figure out what it would be based on all of it. Any questions about that? Yes, always y over x. Yes. Only when it is proportional. Yes. If it's not proportional, we need to pick out those 2 points and do the y2 and all of that. Any questions? All right, this one says the table shows the function of how many words Gary can read if he reads at a constant rate. Use the information in the table to make a graph, represent the number of minutes on the horizontal axis, find the slope of the graph, and explain what it means in this situation. Still got your graph paper I gave you? Yeah. You can pull it out. I see one. We're dealing with proportional relationships, so we only need the L, or we only gonna be working in quadrant 1. Okay. Back to them. You said you need one? You say you need one? All right, so we only need the L, or we only gonna be working for, I think 2. Somebody, you didn't ask for one, ma'am. I didn't hear you, I saw them 2. Send it back to Keelan and yeah. I miss you. That was on me. All right, so let's know that we're gonna be doing some graphs. They said use the information to make a graph. So we already said it's proportional. We only gonna use the X. We're in the L. They said do what on it?
Find the slope of the graph and explain what it means.
Find the slope and explain what it means. We need some labels. They be telling y'all to make a graph and add your labels, and y'all don't be adding your labels.
Okay, we're gonna put the minutes at the bottom.
Okay, minutes at the bottom for x-axis.
And the Y for the word.
So for those of you that got the fourth quadrant, you can write in that third quadrant, you can write on that second quadrant. Yeah, you can print your. Just do your L. I'll give you one like this if you want. And just do your L. Anybody else want one like that? Anybody else want one like this? Pass that back. We'll pass that back. One back there. But just remember the same process, follow the black lines, we only want the L. Only want the L. Give you some units, when some space in between, so you know we gotta add some numbers, so give you some space, put minutes, put words. Now looking at our minutes up there, what you wanna count by? Two. Two. So every line you see, put a 2 or a multiple of 2. Remember, don't put your number in the block, put it on that line. Put it on the line. No, we only feel one. Oh, yeah. I just did go through. Okay, so what I'm saying is looking okay. And if y'all did skip 2 blocks, you made sure that you did it across the board or you uniform really good. So just make sure whatever you count by or however many blocks you skip through, you gotta do that each time. All right, now on the side, what we count by? 320? How we gonna do it?
You're gonna be 320 or 320 or 640. I mean 60 and 1,000.
Okay. So we can use the numbers that they give us. That'll definitely make sure that you got it set up correctly and doing what you need to do. So we're doing the L. Put your label at the bottom, put your label on the side. Let us know how we read the graph. And then I'll go with the same numbers in the table. That's guaranteed to make sure I set it up correctly. All right, and then of course, graphing it. 2 should be at 320. Just remember to go to your X first. And then once you graph it, you should notice you should have a perfect diagonal. Yours should be straighter than mine. You think you know? Go ahead, what you think? 160, talk to me.
Because 110 divided by 2. Not 120, I mean 320 divided by 2 is
160 what?
160 words.
Per. Good job. What? So we graphed it as they told us. They said represent the number of minutes on the horizontal axis. They asked us to find the slope. She remembered slope is another name for unit rate. So if you forgot that, definitely make sure you get that. Slope is another name for a unit rate. Girl, sound like the man gonna hook something up to the thing. It came from the computer this time. Like they trying to hook me up to something. You know, lost my train of thought. What was I saying?
Talking about that, I don't understand like unit rate.
Oh, slope. I was train of thought. So slope is another name for unit rate if you forgot. Madeline remembered that. She remembered we could do y divided by x. So she went ahead and divided it out. That got us 160. And then, of course, don't forget the units, which would have been words per minute. And see, if you already put the units, you will take care of that part at the end. That'll be actually what it means to explain the situation. A lot of y'all be missing them with these questions about it. So going back to proportional relationships, straight line, and they go through the origin. So they are linear, and it just won't have a y-intercept. Or it intersects at 0. All right, have a look at this one. I'm gonna give you about a minute. Read too.
The price is times all the next is represented by 1.5. And the cost of the necessary is on the graph. Which will still out of their lower the cost. With how much lower? The 4 is lower. The next,
Okay, so I'm glad somebody did recognize we got two different things. So we got the nut hut and we got snack shack. Okay, so we gotta find the unit rate of each. Somebody said snack shack, they gave us what? Unit rate, which is what? Okay. And this must be the nut hut.
It's C.
What the hell you see?
Because
Okay, so you could have did 1/6 to do 6 divided by 1. Or if you remember from last year, I told us only proportional relationships we can look when x is equal to 1. So only for proportional, we can find x of 1 is x6. So we know over here to be 6. So then they said, what's that? Yeah, divide them all and make sure we 6. That'll work. So if you remember that notion, stick with that. But if you can recall this, look at 1 and that'll get it. So then they asked which store sells amounts at a lower unit cost.
the nut hut is 50 less.
Nut hut is 50 cents less. Because what?
Because for 1 for 68. It's better than
So then that'll be where you put your comparison of what told you what it was stored in. So the nut hut is 50 cents less because $6.50 is greater than $6. And you can also add Snack Shack had $6.50, Nut Hut had $6, and then you subtract. You can put that in there as well. Questions? Who came up with it without us?
I didn't get that right there, but I did get like the numbers right there.
You had the $6.50, you had the $6? Okay, good. At least that's a start. They get us started. Questions? We good? All right. Try this one.
I'm really good.
Alright, somebody read to us. What is the slow? Melanie, you said you read 75. 75 what?
Yeah. Y equals 75. 0.75.
Alright, talk to her.
2 divided by 1.5 equals 75. And we got 75 because we see that 1 is that 5 point right there is above almost at 1, and then it's between 7, that's in between 5 and 1, that's going to be 75.
Good job. So you could have known the either of that. You could have told us you divided one of the points to make sure what it was, and then you also could have said you looked at 1. You recognized it between 0.5 and 1. Or you could have told me I know half of, or in between those will give me 75 cents, something of that nature. Who all had it? And notice, these are questions that who should get correct. Yes. So do not let us fail these questions on proportional relationships. All right, give you about a minute. Look like we're gonna be dealing with 2 things. We're all right for a minute. Some folks came to my email. There you go. Nope. Fix it right. There you go. Nope.
Oh, I'm not there.
All right, so it says the equation U equals 0.99C shows the value of the US dollar compared to the Canadian dollar on one particular day. C is the value of the Canadian dollar, U is the US dollar. It says the table shows the value of the US dollar compared to the Australian dollar on the same day. Was the US dollar close in value to the Canadian dollar or the Australian dollar that day?
The Canadian dollar.
Talk to us.
Because the Australian dollar is 95 cents in the United States. In the US dollar.
Said it's closer to who? Canadian?
Canadian dollar because it's 99 cents.
It's closer to 1 than 95 cents. So therefore, make sure we answer the question. So she found the unit rate of Australia. She knows that it had 1 in the graph, so that should have been an indicator. Hey, that's the unit rate. She did recognize that up top, Canada, they gave us an equation, so we already knew the unit rate was what? 99 cents. Now they didn't tell us about a US dollar. Why? I said, why they didn't tell us about a US dollar? They wanted us to compare that to US. Why they did?
Because they already gave us our percentage to their dollars and our money.
But why they didn't give us information about our money?
Because we know how much it is already.
Oh, they assume we supposed to know how much a dollar in American money is. You would think that, but baby, you'll be surprised at who don't know that now. Anybody still need something? Good job, ladies. Gents. All right, give you about a minute. I'll fill it out.
I got one.
Here, all right, it says the cost per pound for green beans is represented by the equation y is 1.2x, which of the points is not on the graph of this proportional relationship.
You can automatically take out B and A.
Why?
Well, A or B on the graph, but most definitely B one.
Proportional relationship started.
It was 0 and 0.
And I
so
did 1.8 divided by 4, that equals 1.2,
then
2.4 divided by 2.
2 equals 1.22.
Okay. So we could took that approach. We could have took the points they gave us and divided them out, and being clear that if I do 10 divided by 12, that's not even a whole.
8 gives a lot of 8.
Yeah, it's like 5, 6 or something.
And the reason why he would have chose A is because
He was starting at the origin.
and then on top of that, he probably would have thought D would have been on there because he probably divided some by 10.
Yeah, it's 10 is the clue.
Then he could have divided wrong. All right. And then he also could have got A without having any notion on proportional relationship. A proportional relationship at your level in 8th grade, they rarely go back to this notion. Because they expect you to already have that notion in your mind that, hey, it's proportional, so it has to go through the origin. Good job, ladies. Heard some good stuff. Questions about it? You sure? Sure?
Yeah.
All right, Bell finna ready to go. So today we wrapped up with some more proportional relationships, had some equations. We'll have about 4 questions this evening. Use those same methods, strategies, use the notes. Ask yourself those same questions as you're working and do your best.